From the nosebleeds to the studio, I'm your host, LJ, and we are back again after a rough game two for the Magic in the season, but we're still optimistic of the overall outlook of the team. But let's just say, or to say it was a rough game, a little bit of an understatement. All right, but today we're just going to get into the Magic game versus the Atlanta Hawks yesterday on Friday. Uh, Again, tough game, especially after the opening night game. Kind of expected to come out with a little bit more energy, I guess, considering the circumstances. But it happens. Can't always bat 1,000. But man, I did want to get into this game real quick. We do have another one tonight against Chicago. Do another review after that. So just kind of wanted to touch on what we saw last night. Some of the same, some different, but overall, just pretty rough game two for the Magic. We lost to Atlanta, 107 to 111 was the final score. Again, not too bad when you look at the. Excuse me, if you're looking at the box score just from the pure numbers perspective, but from watching the game, you really understand how horrible a performance it was. And again, the numbers, as we'll get into shortly, do kind of show that to a degree. Again, however, it's it goes deeper than just the box score if you really look at it. But I did want to start on the positive note. Beyond that, like I said, final score 107, 111. Did want to get on the again on a positive note. Despite the loss, Franz continuing from his play in Eurobasket, and again from last year, just proving to be an all-star. Just can pretty much score at will. 10 for 17 from the field today. Another, and I mentioned this on the last episode, but it's that 17 number seems to be what these our stars are going to hover around for the most part. Franz, now that's 2 games in a row he's hit at least 17. So I think that's kind of the mark that we're looking, and I think that's more. It's a good number to have. Obviously, some days it'll be more, some days it'll be less, depending on how the game goes. But overall, I think this is a great number to be around for shot attempts for these guys. Finished with 27 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. Again, just overall shot well from the field, 58% when we break it down from a percentage standpoint. Again, looking like the best player on the floor both games so far. So just gotta kind of figure out the best way to keep spreading out the ball. Seems right now having Franz be at least neck and neck with Paolo with those touches seems to be putting him in the most comfort. And again, when you look at how he performed in Eurobasket, if you got a chance to catch it at all, that's how he's their best player. So him playing the same way here, despite having to kind of share with Paolo, I think puts him in his best space to be comfortable and to run the offense and such. So again, great number. I think to be around. We mentioned Paolo. Now get to him. He struggled last night. Excuse me, a lot. And his struggles, I've noticed since he's been a rookie. Paolo's struggles whenever they come about, it just seems to be that he falls in love with the jumper, and then the struggles continue because instead of driving into the paint, dishing it out, he just continues to shoot jumpers, tries to get out of it. And as a shooter myself, I do understand that sometimes you do got to just see it go in, or like you got to shoot your way out of it. Let me correct myself, but sometimes you just got to see the ball go in, and you just got to go get a layup, go get a free throw, go get an easy bucket, and usually that'll be the kind of um, compromise between like, all right, am I just jacking up shots, or am I just I'm missing, but I'm taking good shots or trying to get a bucket. There's a fine line there, and let's be honest. Last night it just seemed he was chucking when it seemed like he was struggling, and it's apparent on from his body language. With it's not just him, it's everybody. Let's be honest, but when your body language is apparent on your struggles, it's kind of easy for the opposition to kind of hone in on that and kind of do things to make your life a lot harder. And not that necessarily Atlanta was um, locking him up, but they were forcing him to shoot those jumpers that we already knew he didn't necessarily want to take, but his drive to the paint, which are his bread and butter, and that mid range wasn't working. So he fell back to shooting threes and shooting more middies, and you know, again, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm some kind of expert, but you can see from the jump shot when he's going to miss because of just how like he's kind of indecisive on his behind the back dribble. That's kind of the patent tell. Like, okay, he wants to shoot. He's kind of playing it out, and he does drive, but as a defense, you can kind of pick up on when he's going to start shooting, and I feel like Atlanta was kind of doing that and just like, okay, he's not going to drive, he's going to shoot, so let him shoot. And as an offensive player, you see that from the defender, you see them sagging off on you. You already know that kind of puts you in a negative mindset. Like, damn, okay, they don't think I can make it. Should I even be shooting this? But you're wide open. Of course I'm going to shoot it. And then bam, you miss. And then it just compounds on and bricks on. So again, it just kind of seemed that was happening with Paolo yesterday. Overall stats, again, not looking too good, but finished with 11 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist. That 1 assist, I think, is even more glaring because normally we've seen it in the past when Paolo's shots not falling, he'll he'll work on facilitating, work on passing the ball. This just seemed like an all around kind of struggle for him. So um, doesn't discourage me for the most part. It's Paolo, one game. This kind of comes with the territory. It happens. But 26% from the field, that is tough. 4 for 15. Comes to a point where just start passing it, even if you only end up taking 10 shots in the game. Again, it kind of goes back to my point about the shot attempts. I think because he is who he is, he felt he still needed to try to get those shot attempts, and rightfully so. I feel like as a star, you're doing yourself a disservice if you only shoot 5 to 10 shots, even if you're struggling, just because you don't want to struggle more. So personally, I would rather see this than a 3 for 10, for example. I would rather see that he's at least, try to get out of it more, realize it wasn't working. Cool. But again, it's not game two, not really much to worry about. Also, not the first time we've seen this. So, guys, I know we as fans get a little bit anxious and want to, get worried about it, but hey, I personally don't think it's anything to worry too much about. Now, big three, which I think it's safe to call it now. I mean, I think with Suggs back, we really got a big four, for being honest. But with Bane there, I think that's the big three. Bane doing what he did last game. Again, not the most efficient from a shot standpoint. 1 for 9 from three, 5 for 14, or 1 for 7, 1 for 7 from three, excuse me. And overall 35% from the field, 5 for 14. So again, not necessarily the best field goal percentage, but the threat of him alone is just creating so much space that it's apparent. And again, you see it with everybody. Everybody's just getting wide open jumpers now. And again, Paolo's, you can argue whether it was a little bit more because he was struggling, but you can look at game one against Miami too. The space that Bane is creating is remarkable, especially compared to last season when we were last in all or 29th and 29th or 30th in all major 3-point categories. So just seeing the space alone is already a huge like plus. So again, despite his inefficiency, the defenders know what he can do, and they're worried about what that's going to unlock for the offense as a whole. So you're seeing a lot of switching, a lot of running and trying to get out there, which is again leaving others open. It's not showing from a assist perspective. Like we're not seeing it in the numbers from an overall team or even individual assist perspective from his name, but he did finish with 5 assists. So I do think that was, it's more or less his average. So again, I think he did well. Really do. And I don't know if you guys seen social media on game one, Desmond Bane with the Bane mask. If you recall, The Dark Knight Rises, which Bane came out in that movie, the impact that movie had on the world at the time, that's what, like, it's literally, it's it's a great correlation because Bane's having that impact on us right now. So if you know, you know. But yeah, and it's super exciting. I think now all the skeptics of the offseason trade have kind of are gone now. I think everyone kind of understands what we were looking for and what he can bring, and it was worth it. And again, this is only game 2. So just looking forward to see what the rest of the season is going to entail. Super exciting though. And again, want to talk about the big 4 main guy, Suggs. Huge impact despite his limited minutes. Again, playing under 20 minutes, but remarkable impact on just the energy from the crowd, energy to his teammates on the floor. Like he has something that nobody else on this team has. And once we get it full time, it's just going to bring us to another level. We sorely missed last year after he went out with injury. Because even with Paolo and Franz hurting, we were still winning games. Once Suggs went out, the winning stopped for a large portion of it. So even Suggs in this limited role is huge. And we lost last night, but again, that's not on him or his lack of impact. Again, that's just the overall team struggle. So personally, again, hugely excited for the impact that Suggs is going to have once he's fully healthy, but just grateful for what he's giving to us right now. Another 80% plus from the field goal, from the field, excuse me, last night. Only shot 5 shots, which is again when I'm discussing the limited impact, but man, he will sit tonight. So before I get too lost and forget that, I did want to mention he will be sitting tonight against Chicago. However, again, super efficient against the Hawks. 80% from the field, 4 for 5, 11 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. Really can't ask for much more. Again, and especially in the limited minutes that he played. So we just kind of hope that he can do it again, or continue to do it as the games go on and until his conditioning gets better and everything gets better. But overall, I don't think we have anything to worry about. I think it's just super exciting overall. And now just to kind of discuss a few other keynotes here of the game, key factors. Tristan da Silva again. Game 1 scored 16. Last night scored 15. feel like he's probably going to stay around that mark for the season. I think that's a pretty fair bet. I know it's only 2 games, but when you look at just how he's scoring, you know, getting wide open threes, like I mentioned, moving his body well in the paint and drives, and being in the right spot at the right time, seemingly every possession, I think is going to lead him to just be a great impact off the bench without needing the ball. Like he he's not the point guard. He's not Apollo or Franz necessarily, where he needs he's best with the ball in his hands. I think personally he's best off the ball, just kind of tasked to do a little bit of everything. And then whenever it's needed, hey, take it, get us some buckets, because then they're not expecting that from him, and he can just get a bucket on whoever. So, man, Da Silva, after an impressive rookie season so far, is, again, showing a lot of promise, and I guess showing why Germany got some ballers out there that we might need to keep looking for. That's what it's looking like. But, man, again, 15 points on 50% from the field. So, wow, last game it was 60%. So, super excited for what Da Silva is going to bring for the rest of the season. So, again, just kind of seeing what else he can do. So, I just one other note to mention. Didn't mention it on last episode, but a couple DMPs for the rookies in back-to-back games. Not too much of a worry. I feel like eventually they are going to get their burn and their playing time, but still early, and we still got to get the main guys their feel of the team. Which brings me to final point. Tyus Jones, another struggle. 4 points, only on 4 shots. So again, not as bad as game 1, but got to see more out of him coming soon. I think the inefficiency from the team is not a huge worry just yet, considering we're only game 2, but you want to start seeing more. And especially in these home stands, our home court was a huge advantage last year. So we can't be giving up these games at home, especially last night. We gave up that game, especially in the third quarter, that was our huge Achilles heel last year, is in the third quarter giving up the game. So we just need to remember to not do that, and I think we'll be fine. Easier said than done. Tell them, don't give it up the third quarter. But the point is, don't come out of halftime with that lackadaisical effort. Not that they were, but spade is spade. It's just definitely different from the first half. So I think we just need to lock in on that and remember that, and we'll be good to go. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's episode. Like I said, we got another game tonight at 8 o'clock, I believe, Saturday against the Chicago Bulls, or 7 o'clock. So see how that one goes. Think we'll have a better time of it this go around. The return of Vooch back to Orlando. Shout out Nikola Vucevic. We do miss y'all. And again, shout out Chicago, because without y'all, we don't have Franz. And we're not in this predicament. And Wendell, shout out Wendell. Didn't mention him, but same impact as last game. Just offensive rebound, great. Needs to shoot better. But yeah, that goes without saying. Again, thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you in the next episode. Thank you.